How's it going, guys? Thanks for tuning in for another round. Today I'm taking my family out to our home course. This is Grand Central Station Disc Golf Course in Central South Carolina. This actually has two courses on the property, but today we're going to play the easier of the two, which is the freight course. Starting out on hole 1, this is a downhill, slightly downhill I should say, 290-foot hole, par 3. My wife Courtney is going with her air bolt there, which finished off a little bit to the left. I'm going with my ESP Buzz. I like to disc up on this one with the mid-range just to make sure I can control the angles and get the flight I want out of it. So landed about 20 feet short of the basket. There's my daughter, Ellie Blake, putting her disc in the basket, so we were cheering her on, and she was having a great time out there today. My wife is going to approach with a classic Warden. That's what she likes to use for putting and approaching. And I'm going to be putting with my OG Blend Jawbreaker Roach. I got about 20 feet left for the birdie, and this is a good range to start your round out on. And happy to get that one on the first hole of the day. Hole 2 is a really tough birdie to get. It's 360 feet. It's to the right. Very low ceiling, very tight gap. The way to really park this hole is to throw, I would say, a sidearm, but you got to have a lot of power to get to that basket. And the right side is very clumped with the tree, so I actually like to throw a backhand. That's with my Faro. I would have liked for that to stand up a little bit more, but it's very open out on the left, so I like to just have a clean approach, get up and down for my par. Courtney is going with a Champ Mamba here and found a very sneaky gap off to the right, and she is absolutely parked next to the basket, as you'll see in just a second. I'm going with the D-Blend Tomb. This is the one that's beat up that I like to use for approaches and turnover shots. That one got away from me a little bit, but about 20 feet. Nothing too bad. As you can tell, there's Courtney's disc laying right next to the basket. And as I said, I got about 20 feet and able to convert that one for the par. Not sure what we were saying to Ellie Blake right there, but hole 3 is a tight shot. This one bends up and to the right, kind of goes downhill and then uphill, 270 feet. I throw my Champ Viper there on a sidearm. It does open up on the right side, but there is a tree in the middle of the fairway that you got to miss, and unfortunately, I hit it dead on. Courtney is going with another Mamba here, but this one's more stable, and that one just came out a little bit early. She ended up actually not finishing the hole just because our daughter was running off, so I pitched up with my D-Blend Tomb and ended up taking a par. This is hole 4. This one actually has 2 baskets on it. Courtney is playing to the lower one, which is about 415 feet, and she absolutely smashes this drive well over 300 feet with her bolt. I'm actually going up and to the right, which plays about 440. This is a par 3, and out of my hand, this one felt so good, but as you can tell, it hits the power line and kicks me far to the right. So that was pretty disappointing, but it happens. That's just part of the hole. Courtney threw her putter here, and she had a little bit of a grip lock and went a little bit long and down to that next level. I'm pitching up here with a Big Z zone. Came up a bit short. I couldn't really see the basket from where I was, but nothing too bad, about 20 to 25 feet. And look at this putt from Courtney. Down on the next level, well outside the circle, and tosses her Warden right in the basket for the par. Here I am, as I said, about 25, maybe 20 feet, somewhere in that range for my par. And luckily I'm able to convert once again. Putter was feeling pretty good today, so that saved me a lot of strokes. Hole 5 is a par 3, 315 feet. It's definitely out in the open, but then it tightens up once you get into the woods. You want to have something that is on hyzer but kind of pushes forward. I went with my 10-year Buzz and hit that tree right before you get in the gap. Courtney was a little bit distracted here just because our daughter was trying to get her attention and she yanked it a little bit. I believe that was a West Side King. So she's in trouble here, and I can't even begin to tell you how incredible this shot was, considering what she had. And so she's up there looking for a par save. I've got a similar situation. I've got a very tight gap. I'm going with my Big Z zone once again, and I hit the gap. It's very low, and I'm just happy to have a putt. So I think I'm about 25 feet here. As you can tell, there's the rope that measures the circle. If you were to stretch that out, it'd probably be about 5 feet longer than where I am. So somewhere in that 25-foot range. And luckily, I convert to save a par once again. Here's Courtney, and unfortunately, that one got away, but we always do a little second putt just to make sure, and she makes it. Hole 6, this is a new pin position. This is one of the longest holes on the course. The normal position is about 740 feet. You can go inside the power line, outside of it, either way. I did not get the drive I wanted on this one. I was having trouble committing to the big shot early on. Courtney is teeing off from the short pad here, which is, I'm not sure how far ahead it is from the other one, but she has a perfect drive, lands her right in the middle of the fairway. I'm off to the side here, as you can tell, in the shrubbery, and didn't have a good run up at all. So I went with a disc a little bit slower than probably what I should have thrown. Got to about the second power line, which is normally where the basket is. This one I would say is probably 100 to 100 feet farther from where that one normally is. Courtney has her second shot here and has a really good shot. Again, she's just working her way up the fairway. So she's going basically with the same disc each time, just taking off bits of the fairway as she goes. This one looked really good, but it got a little bit over to the right on that tree line and stopped her a bit short. Here's where mine landed. I'm going with my C-Blend Tomb, something that I know I can put some power on, but trust it to finish back to the left, and that one worked out just how I wanted it to. I'm about 15 feet for my birdie putt. Here's Courtney just picking up her drive, the same disc that she had that shot with, and is just throwing it at the basket. Ended up a bit short. There I am tapping in the birdie, assuming that this is a par 5. I'm not too sure about the whole numbers or anything yet. Like I said, this is a new placement, but the way it plays, I would imagine it's a par 5. Courtney was telling me to just keep it on because she was going to make it, and she came up just a bit short. Hole 7 is a par 4, 500 feet downhill. You want to go across this creek that plays really in the perfect landing zone. Courtney landed in a great spot, and she's going to have a pretty clean look at the basket from where she is. I'm going with my S-Blend Faro, and I'm going for the eagle here. I got a good rip on this one, got the perfect turn out of it. Could have used a little bit more, but this one gets a nice little skip, and I'm about pin high to the left, probably 25 feet. Courtney's going with the same disc. I believe that's that same king that she was throwing earlier. That one came out a bit early, so she's going to be off and to the left. Here she is for her approach, and she gets it nice and close, and she'll have a tap in for her par. As I mentioned, I'm about 25 feet or so to the left of the basket relative to the tee, and this is for my eagle, and this was a putt that I was really concentrating on because after not picking up some birdies I would have liked to have, this was a good one to get. So I'm happy to convert that one for the eagle. Hole 8 is a very fun hole. It's 455 feet. It's a par 4. That same creek comes into play right in the middle of the fairway, so I'm actually doing a standstill sidearm for placement with my S-Blend Scepter. That one pushed a little bit farther to the left than I would have liked, but it's still in a decent position. Courtney is actually playing from the short tee, which on the other course, this plays as hole 17's tee pad. So it used to be the short tee for the one course that was there, but I'm glad to see them making good use of it. I'm going with an S-Blend Exodus here on a little turnover line, and I actually liked the shape of it, but just had a little bit too much turn on it. As you can tell, Courtney didn't have much. She just pitched up with her Mako 3, trying to get in a good position to have a nice, easy upshot. That one came up a bit short. This is very uphill. I know you can tell from the camera, but it's actually even more uphill than what the camera shows. So you really have to put a little extra on this one to get it up the hill. So there I am pitching up with my D-Blend, just trying to get it close, make sure to save my par. Courtney just gets that one a little bit high, and unfortunately we'll take another stroke. I'm just going to tap in here for the par. Still moving on, still staying bogey free, so that's good. Hole 9, 280 feet, slightly uphill. We had a pretty strong tailwind on this hole. And as you can tell right here, that disc just drops. That came out of my hand perfectly, but still no harm in that, about 15 feet short. Courtney's going with her bolt once again, and the tailwind killed it as well and just dropped it straight down. So she's got a pretty decent upshot here to get to the basket, and she puts it up there nicely. We'll have a pretty easy putt. As you can tell, again, I'm about 15 feet or so for the birdie, and I convert. So I'm finishing the front nine at 5 under. I have played the front nine a couple times since my injury, but I have not played the back nine. So this will be the first time that I've actually played the back nine at Grand Central Station. So we're on to hole 10, 320 feet. It goes over this hill and goes back down. Courtney went with a Star Colossus there and put it right in the middle, which is exactly where you want to be. I'm going over the top of these trees over here with the ESP Onyx. And again, we have that same kind of tailwind, and it just drops that disc down once again and end up hitting a tree that's by the basket. Courtney's going to approach with her Warden again. Ellie Blake's trying to approach with something as well. And she gets that one a little bit shorter than she would have liked, but still up there for a good putt. This is the tree that I hit, and it dropped me right next to it. So I've got, I don't know, probably 40, maybe 45 feet to the basket. And there's actually a little bit of a tree limb in my way, but still happy to take a par there. I would like to get a birdie on this hole, but a par is not bad. And that's a great putt by Courtney to save her par as well. This is hole 11. This is arguably the hardest hole on the course. It's very open right here, but it's all about placement. You want to land at the mouth of that gap. And I'm going with my Esplin Scepter, and I'm more left than I would like to be. I'm going with my Viper here, trying to flex one down. The basket goes down the gap and to the right, and it gets really fast towards the green. And I actually had that one slip out of my hand a little bit, and I just skied it right up into the air. And luckily didn't go into the woods too bad. So I've got a pitch up here, going with my Big Z zone once again. And we missed the putt, but I was about 10 feet, so I tap in for my par. Hole 12 is definitely a must-get on the course. This is basically just a straight to hyzer shot, 235 feet uphill. I actually go with a driver here, mainly just so that I have something that skips up into the hill. You can definitely reach this even with a putter. Courtney goes with her bolt, turns it over a little bit too much, but gets a great kick back out into the middle of the fairway. So she's got a somewhat of a clean upshot. I think that tree was slightly in her way, and that kept her from getting the distance that she would have liked. As you can tell, walking up to this, I had a great drive. The Exodus worked out great. Got me about 2 feet from the basket and tapping in for the birdie. This is a cool tree, really great feature on this hole that you can putt through sometimes. Courtney decided to go around it, and so she'll tap in that putt. Hole 13 is 260 feet. It goes straight down this fairway and drops off to the right. I'm going with a Viper on a sidearm. It does play downhill, so if you throw the sidearm, it most likely is going to get a big skip down the hill. But where I landed it, it worked out just right. I'm about 20 feet to the right of the basket to tap in for my birdie here. Always a good one to get, especially on the tight wooded holes. Hole 14 is probably the signature hole in the course. It's only 180 feet, but it's got this beautiful green, nice island shot. Courtney had a great drive with her putter, but it hit that last rock, the big rock guarding the island. So I'm going with a D-blend tomb here, and I'm just barely throwing this. And it just coasts all the way down the hill. This one's all about speed control. You really want to hit that mulch at a great speed so that it doesn't slide off, because it definitely will do that. Courtney's putting from the drop zone, just has to pitch up for the bogey. I'm tapping in my birdie putt there. This is hole 15. This is 285 feet. You want to have something that goes out this gap and it bends back into the left just a little bit. I'm going with my 10-year Buzz. And guys, I'll just say one of the kryptonites for me, one of the many kryptonites I should say, is slick tee pads. And it had rained a good bit just before we went out and played. And so this tee pad was not great, and so I tend to yank the disc when I don't trust my footing, and that's exactly what I did there. Not a good shot at all, so I'm going to be very short of the basket. Courtney's playing the other tee pad once again. It's a little bit shorter, but she had a great drive right there, as you'll see in just a second. I got my D-blend tune once again. It's going to be my go-to approach disc, anything I'm trying to run the basket. Trying to give it a little bit, but I'll take the par and just move on. Courtney's got this for her birdie putt, and she drains it. So Courtney gets her first birdie of the round. Here we are on the hole 16, 195 feet. The creek runs all alongside the left, and it's out of bounds. As you can see, there's that Mando tree to the right, so you got to go left of it. She went with a Mamba there and landed about 25 feet to the left. I'm going with my C-blend tune, just something I know that I can turn over just a little bit and still have it fade back. So Courtney did get saved, and she taps in for another birdie. So 2 in a row for her. That was a great putt, and then I'll tap in for mine as well. Hole 17 is 250 feet. It goes back up the hill to the left, so you really want to have something that climbs that hill, gets you up there. She threw her ballista, I believe, on that one, and landed right in the middle at the bottom of the hill. I'm going with my Champ Viper once again, getting it up high, and there's one tree that you really want to miss, and I just happened to square it up and hit it right in the middle. So I'm going to be down, or I should say up and to the left just a little bit. Don't have much of a shot or a putt. So as you can tell here, not the greatest position. I'm going with a rubber blend zone here, and it grips right onto my finger, and luckily I can tap it in for a par, but I was actually trying to give that a run to make it for a 2. We're going to tap that in for a par. Right now I'm at 9 under going into the last hole. Great putt from Courtney there. Hole 18 is a snaky kind of fairway, 510 feet, starts out in the woods and finishes out in the open. It's a par 4. I'm going with my overstable slab here. Just trying to pitch up. It does kind of open up some on the right side after you go around this bend, and then it straightens up some. Courtney got a pretty rough kick off the trees there and is off and to the left. So she's just trying to get in position so that she can have a clear shot for going out of the woods. And so she does that with her Roadrunner here and does that perfectly. She's right in the middle. So I like to try to bite off a lot on my second shot. And so I'm going with a Faro here, trying to reach the basket. And I threw a great line. I just didn't get the turn on the disc that I wanted. And so I'm going to be off and to the left, and I am going to have a birdie putt to finish my round. Here's Courtney going with her drive just to get out of the woods and get out into the open. She had a great shot there. And then she's going to pitch up with her Warden, just try to get it close, finish the round with very minimal damage, and she does that perfectly. So I'm about 40 feet, maybe a little bit more. It looks closer on the camera, but I'm definitely outside of the circle by a good bit. And out of my hand, I thought that was in, but I just finished off to the left. So that's it for this round. If you're ever in the Clemson or central part of South Carolina, I highly recommend that you come check out these courses. As I mentioned, this was the freight course. There's the Locomotive course, which is a little bit tougher. So I'll try to have some content about that course in the near future. But until then, stay safe, everyone, and thanks for watching.